More people and more crime is committed and more people are killed with hammers every year than guns.
This NRA convention gun nut is about to get fact-checked into oblivion by Jason Selvig of The Good Liars.
So, the number of murder victims and the weapons used. Okay, number one, handguns, 8,029. Number two, firearms, type not stated, 4,863. Number three, knives or cutting instruments, personal weapons, fists, feet. Then rifles at 455. Then blunt objects, clubs, hammers, 393. So the 300, the hammers, that stat is just wrong.
And there you have it. It only took some brief research to prove that this claim is false, though it doesn't take a genius to deduce that a country with more guns than people would have multiple types of firearms leading the list of murder weapons. But as long as disinformation like this continues to spread unchecked, the money keeps flowing out of the NRA's coffers, and the Republican Party continues using gun deregulation as a cornerstone of their policy platform. We will not see the significant reforms our country badly needs.
Joe Biden and his thugs will do everything in their power to confiscate your guns and annihilate your God-given right to self-defense. You have a right to self-defense. You've always had that right. During my 4 years, nothing happened, and there was great pressure on me having to do with guns. We did nothing. We didn't yield. And once you yield a little bit, that's just the beginning.
Earlier this year, Donald Trump spoke at the NRA Leadership Forum meeting to reaffirm his loyalty to the gun cult. Maybe if his administration did do something about guns, some of the 200,000 plus Americans who lost their lives due to gun violence during his time in office would still be with us. But to Trump and conservatives, that is just the cost of doing business and a price they're willing to pay 100% of the time.
So you'd like the teachers to carry weapons?
Yeah, everybody should be allowed to carry a weapon, except maybe on an airplane.
It is peculiar that this man draws the line at airplanes instead of schools, or even better, both places. And the more he explains himself, the less sense he makes.
So teachers should have a weapon on them in the classroom?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that would be intimidating for the students to have their teacher with a gun?
Oh, I want him there. They need to put to death all these people who are on death row.
You want to put them to death? Put
them to death quickly.
You want to kill all those people?
Yeah, kill them. Yeah, that it is. They ought to have public execution where everybody sees it.
You believe in public execution?
Old days.
Old days.
I'm all for public execution.
For someone supporting the party of freedom, liberty, and anti-big government, he sure seems to love when the government decides who deserves to live and who doesn't. Now, if you're familiar with The Good Liars, you know what question is coming next.
And what are your thoughts on abortion?
I'm against it, boys. It's murder.
You're against abortion?
Yeah, it's murder.
You want to bring back public executions?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I got the info there. Okay.
All right. Public execution, everybody can see it. Bring your lunch and drink your favorite drink, and we'll watch the execution.
While this lunatic probably does not represent your average Republican voter, he does mirror the pattern of behavior that we've seen out of the right, notably a lack of empathy for anyone he perceives as a criminal, and the inability to recognize the implications and possible repercussions of his own views. As always, a massive shout out to The Good Liars. They deserve a ton of credit and praise for the work they do, so be sure to give them a follow at the links in the description box below and check out their live show if they're coming to a city near you so they can keep delivering this much needed content.
For Joe Biden and his leftist allies, and that is, come and take it.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott is one of the best examples of Republican politicians lacking empathy. From his using migrants and immigrants as political props to his disastrous response to the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde, it's clear Abbott cares more about keeping his position of power than improving the lives of his constituents.
If the Biden regime gets 4 more years, they are coming for your guns, 100% certain. Crooked Joe has a 40-year record of trying to rip firearms out of the hands of law-abiding citizens. He's always wanted to do that. In the White House, the radical gun grabbers will run straight into a very, very powerful brick wall. Their dreams of taking away your God-given rights will die when the polls close on November 5th, 2024. Those dreams that they have will be dead.
This is exactly the type of rhetoric that fuels the fear and feeds into the paranoia Republican voters already have, which in turn incentivizes them to buy more guns that prop up the gun lobby even more than it is already today. And the cycle of violence, well, it continues.
It's needs to be protected, the Second Amendment, as far as, what would be the means to protect us for, the type of stuff that comes against us. But it's to take away one particular weapon based on what we're seeing isn't just justified.
It's not justified.
No, I don't think so. I think it's because it's not the weapon, it's not the gun that's causing the crimes. It's the mental dysfunction that we're having. There's just so much going on in our country where we don't have enough support for mental illness.
There was a period, though, for 10 years where the United States essentially banned AK-47s, and the number of mass shootings went down.
Yeah, again, those are all, things that, has happened over time. But again, it's like the mental illness is the real fight we're fighting right now. We need support for all the people in the world. We've had so many suicides of people, young children, adults, actors, musicians, that have committed suicide through mental illness, and that's really the battle we're fighting right now.
So whose responsibility is it to try to help people with mental illness? Is it a community? Is it a state? Should the federal government be doing more?
It's everyone. It's the families themselves that, their family members. It's the towns, the governments, the Congress and whatnot. Yeah.
I don't believe guns are dangerous at all, as long as you have the proper training. I'm a Second Amendment supporter from the beginning as well. We hunt, fish, camp my whole life. I teach my son the same things.
They're talking about possibly raising the age to legally own a gun. They're talking about background checks, and they're talking about getting rid of assault weapons. Would any restrictions be okay with you to make other people more responsible because you're so responsible?
Well, number one, when it comes to an assault weapon, I guess I don't even know what that is. I have an AR. I don't consider that an assault weapon. We can take it out and shoot prairie dogs with it. We can shoot deer with it. We can protect ourselves at home with it.
There was what was called an assault weapons ban. I didn't name it, so don't come after me. Assault weapons ban in 1994. It actually worked for 10 years, and there was a dip in the number of assault weapon deaths and gun deaths. That's what I'm asking about.
Yep. I don't think there should be a ban. Actually, the assault weapon isn't intended for hunting, I guess, if you want to call it an assault weapon. It's for home invaders. It's to protect yourself. I mean, everybody keeps saying you don't need an assault weapon to hunt or to shoot. It's fun to use them and do that with them, but that's not what they're intended for. They're intended for me to protect myself, my family. That's what they're for.